Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's awesome to have you here again. If you're a regular, you already know we dive into the most insane stories the world has ever forgotten, the ones hiding in plain sight, waiting to be found again. And if you're new, get ready, because today's story is going to blow your mind. You've probably heard about rare coins worth a fortune, maybe an old silver dollar or a gold doubloon from a sunken ship. But nothing, and I mean nothing, comes close to the story of the 2007 1-cent coin that would eventually be valued at a jaw-dropping $473 million. How does a coin so small, so ordinary, end up carrying enough worth to change lives, rewrite history, and almost tear apart the very idea of money itself? Buckle up, because this story goes way deeper than you can imagine. The story starts, as many good ones do, with a mistake. Or at least, what seemed like a mistake. In 2007, the US Mint was churning out billions of pennies as usual. The world was rushing through the first decade of the 21st century, obsessed with smartphones, reality TV, and the financial boom that no one realized was about to crash spectacularly. In the chaos of mass production, a single penny slipped through the cracks, not because of a mechanical error, but because of something that had been planned in secret. In Philadelphia, an experimental minting program had been approved under the table, signed off by a handful of high-level officials operating way outside the normal channels. Their project, called Project Sentinel, wasn't about currency at all. It was about something infinitely more valuable: controlling digital security in an age that was spinning out of control. The internet was exploding, digital data was becoming the new gold, and cyber attacks were becoming more common. The government needed a way to create a foolproof, unbreakable encryption key that could never be duplicated, hacked, or counterfeited. And they decided to hide it inside something no one would ever suspect: a penny. This wasn't a chip embedded in a coin. That would have been too obvious. No, this was far more sophisticated. They altered the metallic structure of a single penny at the atomic level, embedding in it a crystalline matrix that could store quantum data. This matrix was linked to an encryption algorithm so complex that the most powerful computers at the time would have taken millions of years to crack it. The penny itself was the key. Without it, unlocking certain classified databases, ones containing not just government secrets, but advanced scientific formulas, blueprints for undisclosed energy technologies, medical breakthroughs, even the details of clandestine space missions, would be impossible. Only one penny was supposed to be created. It was meant to be catalogued, stored in a secure facility, and never see the light of day again. But things rarely go according to plan. The penny, designated Sentinel 001, was accidentally, or perhaps not so accidentally, mixed into a shipment of regular coins. It was bagged, boxed, and sent off to a Federal Reserve branch, then distributed to banks across the country. From there, it entered the wild, indistinguishable from the millions of other 2007 pennies flooding cash registers and pockets for years. The Sentinel penny passed from hand to hand, buying candy bars, bus tickets, parking meters. No one noticed anything strange. To the naked eye, it looked completely normal. The only difference, invisible without a spectrometer, was a faint disturbance in its molecular alignment, a subtle hum that sensitive equipment might have detected if anyone had thought to look. Fast forward to 2019. In a small town in Oregon, a college dropout named Evan Parker was trying to piece his life together. After flunking out of engineering school, Evan moved back home with his parents and got a job at a recycling center. It was mindless work, sorting cans, bottles, and sometimes the occasional pile of discarded junk. One rainy afternoon, while digging through a box labeled metal scraps, Evan found a coffee can filled with old coins. People sometimes dumped their spare change there, thinking it wasn't worth cashing in. Bored, Evan dumped the can onto a sorting table. Something about one of the pennies caught his eye. It wasn't shinier or heavier or different in any obvious way. But when he picked it up, he felt a faint vibration in his fingertips, like the soft thrumming of distant thunder. Curious, he set the penny aside. Later that night, in the dim glow of his computer screen, Evan looked at the penny under a jeweller's loupe. He noticed tiny imperfections along the rim, almost like scars. Out of boredom more than anything else, he decided to test it with a cheap spectrometer he had from his abandoned engineering days. The results made no sense. The metallic composition wasn't pure copper and zinc. It showed traces of an unknown structure, something not found in any known alloy. He posted a blurry photo and a description on a niche coin collectors forum. Most people dismissed it as nonsense. But one user, going by the name Argus1, messaged him privately, offering $50,000 for the penny, sight unseen. Evan laughed it off, thinking it was a scam, but then the emails started. At first a few polite inquiries, then more aggressive offers. Within days, Evan was receiving dozens of messages daily, some offering hundreds of thousands of dollars, others issuing veiled threats. One night, his house was broken into. Nothing was stolen, but the penny, which he had hidden inside a hollowed-out book, had clearly been searched for. Terrified, Evan turned to the only person he trusted, his sister Mia, a cybersecurity expert living in Seattle. Mia took one look at the penny and realized it was something far beyond their understanding. She contacted a friend of hers, a former NSA analyst named David Chen, who immediately recognized certain coded markings barely visible under ultraviolet light. David explained the truth: the penny wasn't just valuable, it was priceless. It was the key to Sentinel, a hidden archive of the government's most protected secrets. In the wrong hands, it could start wars, collapse economies, end nations. And now, powerful groups, government agencies, private corporations, rogue nations, knew it existed and were closing in fast. Evan, Mia, and David found themselves on the run from rural Oregon to the skyscrapers of Seattle, from abandoned airfields to secret underground bunkers. They tried to stay ahead of the hunters. Along the way, they unlocked parts of Sentinel's archive, revealing glimpses of astonishing knowledge, blueprints for clean energy reactors, cures for diseases thought incurable, evidence of undisclosed extraterrestrial contact. But the more they discovered, the more dangerous their situation became. One faction wanted to destroy the penny to keep its secrets buried. Another wanted to exploit it for profit. And another, far more shadowy group, wanted to use it to bring down the global order and build a new world in their image. Realizing they couldn't trust anyone, Evan made a fateful decision. Using David's expertise and Mia's hacking skills, they transmitted parts of the Sentinel archive to trusted journalists, scientists, and whistleblowers around the world. Not enough to cause chaos, but enough to spark change. New technologies began quietly emerging. New cures entered development. Corrupt systems started to crumble, and meanwhile, the penny itself remained hidden. Evan knew he couldn't keep it forever. It was too dangerous. In a final act of sacrifice, he melted the penny down using a specialized plasma cutter designed to destroy its crystalline matrix completely. The physical key was lost forever, but by then, the knowledge it protected had already begun to reshape the world. Evan disappeared after that. Some say he lives under a new identity in a quiet European village. Others think he was taken by those who still wanted the secrets he unleashed. Mia continues her work, advocating for transparency and freedom of information. David, too, vanished, though whispered rumors claim he advises certain governments in secret. Today, the legend of the 2007 1-cent coin lives on in whispers, in online conspiracy forums, in obscure references buried in classified documents. Some say the penny was fake, a myth. Others know the truth, that for a brief moment in history, a simple piece of copper and zinc carried the weight of an entire civilization's future, and its estimated worth, if it had ever been auctioned, if its full power had been realized, was placed at $473 million. But really, its true value was beyond measure. Thank you for joining me today for this unbelievable story. Stay tuned, because next time, we'll dive even deeper into the hidden histories and forgotten treasures that are all around us, just waiting to be discovered. I'll see you in the next one. Next 1996 D1 USA coin. It's so good to have you here again. If you've been following for a while, you already know we're not about the everyday headlines or the usual stories. We're about the ones that slip through the cracks, the legends hiding right beneath our noses, waiting for the right moment to change everything we think we know. If you're new, you're in for a real treat, because today's story is one that's so unbelievable, so twisted, it might just change the way you think about what's possible. Today, we're diving into the mind-blowing true story of the 1996 D1-cent coin that, against every odd, was valued at an earth-shattering $871 million. This isn't just about a rare coin. This is about betrayal, hidden dynasties, lost technologies, and a secret that could have redefined the world. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. The story begins, like many extraordinary ones, in complete obscurity. In 1996, the Denver Mint was producing billions of pennies. The economy was roaring, technology was booming, and America was riding high on a wave of optimism. Deep in the bowels of the mint, a minor rebellion was brewing. A group of artisans and metallurgists, fed up with what they saw as the cheapening of their craft, decided to create something extraordinary, an ultimate masterpiece, something that would stand the test of time long after ordinary coins had corroded and vanished into history. They called it the Genesis Project, led by a master metallurgist named Samuel Kane. The team worked in secret, often staying late into the night, dodging security patrols and falsifying records. Using experimental techniques involving molecular layering and rare earth elements, they created a coin unlike any other, a penny that, though outwardly identical to its peers, was virtually indestructible. But that was only the beginning. Hidden inside the coin was a microscopic storage device, a nanovault containing information that had been carefully compiled over decades by a secretive cabal of inventors, scientists, and thinkers known as the Horizon Circle. Their goal was to preserve forbidden knowledge, blueprints for free energy devices, maps to lost cities, advanced propulsion theories, even records of ancient human civilizations predating anything acknowledged by mainstream archaeology. Samuel and his team had ties to the Horizon Circle, and they believed that the modern world, obsessed with short-term profits and political control, wasn't ready for such knowledge. They decided to hide it in the most mundane object imaginable, a single penny, and release it into the wild, trusting that destiny would place it into the hands of someone worthy when the time was right. The Genesis penny was stamped late one night in a hidden, unauthorized run at the Denver Mint. It bore no visible differences except for a microscopic anomaly on Lincoln's shoulder, a tiny imperfection shaped like an arrow, invisible to the naked eye but detectable under a high-powered microscope. After forging a fake shipping manifest, Samuel personally pocketed the coin and left the mint for the last time. Days later, he disappeared without a trace. The coin surfaced and disappeared dozens of times over the next 20 years. It was used to pay for groceries, spent at gas stations, lost in couch cushions, dropped on sidewalks. Its trail was impossible to follow. Every now and then, a few numismatists whispered about a magic penny with strange properties, but no one took it seriously until 2018. In the dusty back room of a failing pawn shop in Tucson, Arizona, a young woman named Laya Dawson stumbled across an old jar of coins while looking for something to resell online. Laya wasn't a collector or a historian, she was a hustler, scraping by through online auctions and flea markets, flipping whatever junk she could find. She bought the jar for $2. One night, bored and restless, she began sifting through the coins. Most were ordinary, but one penny caught her eye. It wasn't shinier or heavier. If anything, it looked more warm than the others. But something about it felt different. Almost warm to the touch, as if it had been sitting in sunlight, even though it was the middle of the night. On a whim, she photographed it with her macro lens. That's when she noticed the tiny arrow etched into Lincoln's shoulder. Intrigued, she posted the image on a rare coin forum. Within hours, her inbox exploded. Offers flooded in, first hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands of dollars. She was offered $100,000 by a collector in Switzerland who didn't even ask for more photos. Confused and suspicious, Laya refused all offers. The next day, her apartment was broken into. Nothing was stolen, but her belongings were clearly rifled through. She knew she was onto something far bigger than she understood. She reached out to an old friend, Marcus Hayes, a tech savant and conspiracy theorist who had once built a website tracking lost artifacts of forbidden knowledge. Marcus immediately recognized the arrow mark from legends about the Horizon Circle. He explained to her that the penny might not just be rare, it might be the physical key to unlocking suppressed technologies and hidden histories. Marcus believed that powerful corporations, secret societies, and shadow governments had been hunting for the Genesis penny for years. Now that Laya had surfaced, she had painted a target on her back. They decided they needed help. Marcus contacted a woman named Dr. Isabel Vance, a former MIT physicist turned underground researcher. Dr. Vance had connections to the remnants of the Horizon Circle, or so she claimed. She agreed to meet them in a remote location in New Mexico, a place once used for classified experiments during the Cold War. Before they could leave, men in dark SUVs began following them. Lila and Marcus fled, driving for 3 days across back roads, sleeping in their car, always staying one step ahead. They reached the abandoned facility at dawn. Inside, Dr. Vance set up a series of machines designed to interface with the nanovolt hidden inside the penny. The results were staggering. Projected onto the walls were blueprints for zero-point energy generators, designs for vehicles that could bend space-time, detailed maps showing ruins hidden deep under Antarctica's ice. There were diagrams of ancient machines built by civilizations tens of thousands of years before recorded history. Scientific formulas that defied the known laws of physics. And perhaps most chilling of all, predictions, written decades ago, of global events that had since come true with terrifying accuracy. Dr. Vance explained that the Horizon Circle had seen the writing on the wall. They knew humanity was rushing towards self-destruction. Their plan had been to hide the knowledge until the right person, at the right time, could unleash it responsibly. Lila, somehow, had been chosen by fate. The information, if released all at once, would shatter the global economy, upend governments, and likely plunge the world into chaos. Free energy would destroy the oil and gas industries overnight. The exposure of ancient civilizations would rewrite history and religion. The technology could make billion-dollar industries obsolete within weeks. Meanwhile, the groups hunting them were closing in fast. Some wanted to suppress the information forever. Others wanted to exploit it for unimaginable profits. A few believed it should be released to the world at any cost, no matter the consequences. A brutal cat-and-mouse game ensued. Lila, Marcus, and Dr. Vance dodged assassins, corrupt officials, and mercenary teams across the American Southwest. They formed uneasy alliances with underground hackers, rogue scientists, and even a few old members of the Horizon Circle who had survived the purges of the early 2000s. At the same time, they had to decide what to do with the information. Dr. Vance argued for caution. Marcus wanted to release everything immediately. Lila was torn. She understood the risks, but also saw the potential for a better world. Finally, after a terrifying ambush that left several pursuers dead, they realized they couldn't sit on the knowledge forever. Waiting too long would only ensure that it was taken from them by force. They devised a plan. Using a sophisticated algorithm designed by Marcus, they broke the information into thousands of fragments and uploaded them anonymously to servers around the world, hidden inside everyday data, photos, videos, blog posts, memes. No single piece made sense on its own, but together, they formed a puzzle that anyone with the right mind could piece together. Meanwhile, the Genesis penny itself became a symbol. Once it was revealed to the world, collectors and governments alike declared it the most valuable object on Earth. Its estimated worth climbed to $871 million at the height of the frenzy, though no one could truly put a price on it. But Lila didn't sell it. She didn't auction it. She didn't even keep it. In a quiet ceremony deep in the desert, she melted it down, ensuring that no single entity could ever control it again. The knowledge had been set free, and the physical symbol destroyed, preserving the spirit of the Horizon Circle's original mission. Today, if you know where to look, you can find whispers of the Genesis penny. In sudden technological breakthroughs that seem to come out of nowhere. In secret academic circles rediscovering ancient truths. In governments scrambling to cover up their past mistakes, and maybe, just maybe, in the quiet knowledge that somewhere, hidden in the world's collective consciousness, is the legacy of a few brave souls who believed in humanity's potential for something greater. Thanks for sticking with me through this epic story. Make sure you're subscribed because next time, we'll uncover another hidden chapter of history you won't believe. I'll see you in the next one.